A beautiful bit of beech woodland. This could be tricky today. I could get burnt. Severely burnt. Not via the sun, as it comes through the trees. I'm very close to the Derbyshire border, and if I happen to stray over it, I might spontaneously combust. This is Cuckney Hay Wood. You have to love beech woodland. I do. Love beech. It's a very stately tree. And beech woodland, such as this, creates an almost cathedral-like atmosphere. Admittedly, one of the problems with beech is that you don't get a good understory of flora. And the ground is typically so shaded that nothing will grow underneath beech. But that in itself, to me, adds an attraction to beech. It makes beech woodland quite a unique habitat. And especially in Nottinghamshire, because we ain't got much of it. And that we've got is under imminent threat. I've never seen any bracket fungus ravaged by the larvae of a range of invertebrates, as in the case here. You can see there's these almost growths, but this is the frass produced into tube-like shapes by the larvae of various flies and beetles. But I've never seen it damaged to this extent. That's quite amazing. I'll show you what one looks like. And that's what they would have looked like before they were attacked. And these are bracket fungus of some type, and this tree is on its way out. There's still some leaves on it towards the top, but not much. This is a badly affected, dying beech tree. At last, a bit of sunlight. And sunlight bringing out the best in this area of Cuckney Hay Wood. And I say we're in the last week of October now, when very limited amounts of autumn colour on the leaves this year. But there again, that's a common thing with today. And today's milder winters, and there's less difference now between the seasons than there used to be. We did used to have seasonal weather. Now it tends to be unseasonal weather for shorter periods. And winters now are incredibly mild. And if you're lucky, you might get a week or a fortnight of cold, frosty weather. Snow is even rarer nowadays. But at one time, you could see a difference changing from one season to another. But that has gone, and it's been gone for a number of years. how times and the world has changed. I love the way sunlight comes through trees, or where the sun appears from behind the higher parts of a tree trunk. And with it being mild, there's quite a bit of insect activity. You may well be able to see some flies flitting around in the sunlit spots. I imagine there'll be a late woods fly or two. It's beautifully sunny outside, and we're going to head that way and see what we can find. Don't know how well you'll be able to make these out, but just look at the number of midges that are in this sunlight. There are hundreds. And Cuckney Hay Wood, part of it is pine, and seemingly not for much longer either. The pine's going. But the pine is a crop, fair enough. There's an abundance of midges. It's almost like Scotland, isn't it? I know this isn't a proper road. It's a road that the squirrel's crossing in the distance there. It's a road which leads down to a quarry. A quarry which is now being used, I believe, as a training facility, but which for a number of years was abandoned. It's not an overly deep quarry, and you could go into it. You had to stay away from the sides of the cliffs because it was most unstable rock, but you could safely walk around in the bottom of it. It never turned up the invertebrates I was hoping it would do, but we'll see how far we can get down. We might even be able to get to walk around it. You used to be able to, so we'll go and have a look. You never know. It is an absolutely corking day. Lovely bit of sunshine, warm in the sun, but mild anyway. There's a bit of a breeze, yes. Might get an increasingly breezier as the day goes on, but it's a lovely sky, an ever-changing sky. I love these days when you've got cumulus clouds rushing across the sky. All in all, this is a beautiful autumn day. And sheltering and sunning itself on the bracken is green shieldbug, one of our larger species, inconspicuous, common throughout the county. Even in urban gardens you'll get this from time to time. Actually goes brown over winter, because the adults of many shieldbugs, like this species, overwinter. And these do go brown, and most, unlike green shieldbugs, commonly get misidentified as other species. But this one's warming up in the sun's rays. It's a nice little find. There's quite a few inverts flying around. I've seen hornet. In fact, there's one round this tree on your right hand side now. But there's also still one or two field grasshoppers. It's the commonest one that you'll still find this time of year, and it's the brownish one, or dullish grey. There's a number of common darters still on the wing, which is typical Now you can get common darters well into November, as long as the weather remains mild enough. There's still quite a bit that you can look for. As I mentioned before, the later you go into autumn, the more things need a bit of searching for. They don't give themselves away so easy in autumn. It's not very often I get to film these chaps, but this is a superb queen wasp. Without closer examination of the shape of the face, always difficult to tell a species. But they are cracking things, and this one's on this bit of fencing, doing what most insects do, using it to warm up. It looks like she's going to go off in a minute. She must have heard me. Well, it's changed a great deal since I was last down here. I'm against the quarry entrance, but because it's used now, you can't get nowhere near to it. But when I last walked down here, this was all in the process of being clear felled. And say, now it's all been planted up with, say, a Christmas tree type thing. I don't know why they don't plant it with native species, or even back up with pines if they're going to use it again. So it looks very different, all this. More pines to go, unfortunately, but not many inverts in this bit, but it's still nice to walk around. It's lovely, it's dry, sunny, and extremely mild. Well, everything's intent on grabbing that last bit of sun, even this harlequin ladybird. I've not seen too many ladybirds today. In fact, I've seen no 7 spots. There will be about. They tend not to be so much on the foliage of trees and shrubs, whereas harlequins are quite at home, arboreally. I've got some nice hart's tongue fern growing off this outcrop. I have to be careful here because I'm very close to the Derbyshire border, so I might start burning if I get too close to it. That'll never do. But what a cracking little place, and I'm going to have a little bit of a grub around. There's not many places in Nottinghamshire that you find outcrops of stone like this, and I'm presuming this is limestone. But we're quite fortunate in the Warsop area, and with it being so close to Derbyshire, because there is that ridge or strip of limestone that runs up through this part of Nottinghamshire and then ends up going top side of Worksop, or as remains just a thin strip. So to find any kind of stony habitat like this in Nottinghamshire is extremely unusual. So we'll have a bit of a grub. something to show you. And under these leaves of this hartstongue fern, we have some larvae. I've exposed this one because this is what the larva of one of the Psychoides moths. There's 2 species in the UK and in Nottinghamshire. The most common is Psychoides felicivora, and then there's another one which we've found before on hartstongue fern, which is Psychoides veroella. And I believe that there is a difference in the larva, and species can be determined before adult by looking at the larva. So this is a good find. It's one of those species, or both Psychoides, or those species neglected and grossly under-recorded, presumably. So I'm quite pleased with that. The sun's returned. It is an incredibly dark wood. This, an element of thinning, wouldn't have gone amiss, rather than most of the trees going by the looks of it. But I just love the way sunlight filters down through trees. And we'll soon be back to the Beech woodland where we first started. Occasionally in woodland, especially beech, and as in this case what was sycamore, you will find what look like ghost trees. The trees appear white or cream, and on closer inspection you will see that they're covered in a fine dust. The dust is actually sawdust from the tree. This has got a bit wet, so it's reluctant to reveal that it is in fact an ivy leaf under there. And the cause of this ghostly like tree is a very tiny beetle. It's in fact a weevil. There are several species of this weevil known as Europhorum, and the commonest that you get in Sherwood Forest area and throughout Nottinghamshire, and that will cause this kind of damage, is Europhorum confinii. You'll see on the bark that there are some tiny holes, and they are the old workings of Europhorum confinii, and they produce copious amounts of this dry sawdust because they prefer trees that are completely dead and dry. Just noticed on this tree, and you may be able to make it out, especially as it's moving a little bit now, we have a spider. And this is a common species called Drapitesca socialis. And the name socialis should give you an indication that it's quite a sociable spider. And you'll often find several of these per tree trunk, often in close proximity. And this is a spider which you'll find easily, especially on any smooth tree trunk, at this time of year, from sort of September onwards. And they can persist right into November and December if conditions remain suitable. And you'll find this throughout Nottinghamshire. Although, unfortunately, spiders and arachnids in general are poorly under-recorded. As far as I know, no one's doing spiders in Nottinghamshire other than himself. There's so much out there to find. There are some records that have come from Netherfield in the last few years, but that's just from one site. We could really do with somebody to take up the challenge of spiders and many other orders, to be honest, of invertebrates, and take that challenge up county-wide. There's so much we don't know about what's in Nottinghamshire. The sounds of a Nottinghamshire woodland in autumn. There's me, a jay, and a nuthatch. Oh, we've now got virtually blue sky overhead by the looks of it. And now I'm back in this part of Cuckney Hay Wood. It isn't raining, it's just water dripping off. But I'm now back in the part of Cuckney Hay Wood that is beech and a lot of sycamore. And the nuthatch is still here. Another fruit of autumn, and the result of another summer. I love chestnuts, and you needn't think I'm leaving them for the squirrels. It looks beautiful. Hopefully another week there'll be a bit more autumn colour. Maybe in a fortnight. Because these beech look magnificent at that time of year. Well, I can see the car from here, which is always a good sign. You never know around here. We are close to the Derbyshire border. But one thing is for sure, someone's going to nick these trees at some time. This may well be the last time I can come and stand under these trees. Unfortunately, this isn't unique in Nottinghamshire for the imminent threat of the chainsaw. There are at least 2 or 3 other areas of woodland, predominantly beech woodland, that are marked up for the chop. I enjoy walking in the countryside, looking for bits and just being in various habitats. But quite often when I come to sites like this, they are ultimately tinged with great sadness. Sadness that we'll be losing yet more sites like this. It's not right, certainly in an age when we're being asked to plant trees again. I remember the first time in 1973. Plant a tree in 73 was the slogan. I dare say that many of those trees that were planted in 73 have long since been given the chop. And here comes another chestnutting family. I despair for today's youngsters because they're going to grow up and not experience chestnutting for a large proportion of their lives, because they'll go. How long will the sound of woodland echo to the sound of children? Children having fun and enjoying the environment, the woodland environment, and the experience. When we continually chop trees down in the way we are doing, we're depriving children of the future having such an experience. A lot of you might laugh at me, but I can guarantee it'll come true. Children experiencing the countryside will soon be a thing of the past. What a sad state of affairs. I wish people would wake up to the plight of trees. A lot won't be here for much longer.